The Big Ten is filled with lots of quarterback talent going into the 2019 season, and that's what we will be going over today. Today we'll be going over my first edition of my Big Ten quarterback rankings. We're going to be going over every quarterback in the Big Ten in order from worst to best. I ranked these in order as to how their stats were in previous years, the experience that they have, and how they are as a leader of their team. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. Number 14, Rutgers is Artur Sitkowski. He played 11 games in 2018. He mainly started the majority of his season. He was a freshman last year. 1,100 passing yards, negative 66 rushing yards. So not really a mobile quarterback there. But 4 touchdowns, 18 interceptions. Very rough freshman season for Artur. Looking at that touchdown interception ratio, though, that basically means for every 1 touchdown that he scored last season, that equals 4 to 5 interceptions apiece. That may be the worst touchdown interception ratio that I have ever seen. It's questionable as to if he's going to start next season. I'm guessing he'll probably be split up. They may get a transfer in there or something like that. Still several months until the season starts. Not much to know about him right now. He does rank last on this list. Number 13, we have MJ Rivers II out of Illinois. Played 8 games last season, kind of had split action. Will be a sophomore in 2019 as well. He played limited time in 2018 once again, 547 passing yards, 65 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. It's not a very good ratio there either with the 3 interceptions. I mean, when you have 547 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, you should not have 3 interceptions if you're a good quarterback. Of course, the thing is, though, he is still very young. He was a freshman last year. That'll help him to have more experience. He is a possible dual threat. Looking at that 65 rushing yard stat, he could be a pretty good runner. We should be sure to watch for that next season at MJ Rivers II. Number 12 is Tanner Morgan out of Minnesota. Played 9 games last year, 1,400 passing yards, which is not too bad. But then the rest of the stats aren't as good. 51 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Not a very good ratio there as well. 6 interceptions and really getting limited action. Not very good stat there. How will experience be helpful for him? I think it's really going to help him, especially with any quarterback, any young quarterback. If you can get some experience down, that will really help you to be able to build your skill in the following years. If Morgan does well, I think Minnesota could be a dangerous team next season. I've talked about this previously. I think Minnesota, with PJ Fleck and the talent that they have, I mean, they're going to be more of a more experienced team next year. We've looked over the rosters and who they're going to be losing this year. This is going to be a team that I think has potential next year to do some great things. In my top 25 preseason, I actually had them as my 25 spot. I considered leaving them out, but Minnesota right now, I do have them at 25 in my preseason rankings, although Morgan is number 12 on my quarterback list for the Big Ten. Number 11, Jack Cohn out of Wisconsin. Last season, he played a little bit. He was behind Hornibrook for the most part. 515 passing yards, negative 33 rushing yards. Definitely not a mobile quarterback. 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Not a very good ratio there as well. I considered putting him at 12, but I just think that Jack Cohn will do pretty good in the Wisconsin offense. A player to watch for in 2019, because I think if he does well, Wisconsin can get to where they typically are. But he's uncertain to start still, as we are several months away from the season start. And since Hornibrook is gone, it'll be interesting to see who gets that starting position. Should be a lot of competition there. He also played in 2017, but also limited, kind of like how he played in 2018. Next up, number 10, Taysom Hill out of Maryland. In 2018, he played 10 games. He had 1,083 passing yards, negative 15 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Kind of looking at this, negative 15 rushing yards. He's not a very good rusher, but really he doesn't have too bad of a touchdown interception ratio for this far down on the list, as he has 9 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Not too bad there. Started the majority of the 2018 season. He's uncertain to start in 2019. I do believe that they just picked up Josh Jackson, a quarterback out of Virginia Tech. I made these graphics just a couple days ago, and Josh Jackson was actually just picked up by Maryland, I believe, yesterday. So this I'm still keeping Taysom Hill in here, but it is uncertain whether he's going to start or not. Not a very mobile quarterback. I honestly would assume that Josh Jackson probably will win that starting position. He played at Virginia Tech. Still, though, Virginia Tech, I created a video on them. They are having major transfer problems. I don't know what's going on with that program. Completion percentage 49%. Also another thing that Hill needs to clean up. He's down at number 10 on this list. Has potential, but he's just down there right now for me. Number 9, TJ Green out of Northwestern. Played 6 games in 2018. He's mainly backup. 169 passing yards, 21 rushing yards. No touchdowns, 1 interception. He may be a dual threat quarterback. It's kind of uncertain as to that right now, but 21 rushing yards, not too bad there. He will be a senior in 2019. This will likely be his last year of being eligible to play as a college quarterback, and it is still uncertain who is going to start, though, for Northwestern as well. But TJ Green is just our early favorite on this list. Number 8, we have Elijah Sindelar. We believe that he was going to start last season, but Blau ended up taking over in 2018. He outplayed him. He's not much of a rushing quarterback. Negative 76 rushing yards. This is kind of the part in the list where we start to see some pretty good quarterbacks and some quarterbacks where we are pretty certain that they're going to be starting in the 2019 season. He played 12 games in 2017, but he did not play every single game, obviously. Since Blau was the main starting quarterback, the 12 games is if you even play a snap in that game, that stat will increase. 18 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, not a bad ratio there. 18 touchdowns. But of course, not a rushing quarterback, and Blau ended up taking over in 2018. Number 7, we have Tommy Stevens. In 2018, he played 6 games, 110 passing yards, 118 rushing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Didn't really have much experience last season. He's probably a dual threat quarterback. As you can see, he has more rushing yards than passing yards. He'll be his first full season, and it will also be his last, as he is a senior this year. So really, I don't know really what to expect from Stevens. Of course, since he hasn't had much experience, we haven't seen a lot from him. He played 6 games in 2018, so he didn't really play a whole lot, but definitely a quarterback to watch out for. It should be first full season for Stevens. I do expect him to start. He ranks at number 7 on this list. He could go much higher, I think. He's definitely got potential, especially since he's a dual threat quarterback. If you're a dual threat quarterback, you've got so much more potential because you can use 2 weapons, not just 1. Number 6, Brian Lewerke out of Michigan State. He played 11 games in 2018. The thing is, though, he was injured a lot in it. So that's the reason why he's more down on this list. 40 passing yards last season. Pretty good there. 184 rushing yards, but 8 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. He really needs to fix that interception-touchdown ratio. He had an outstanding 2017 season, though. I considered putting his stats on there, but I believe he had 2,700 passing yards in 2017, and his touchdown-interception ratio was outstanding. But really, since he was injured in 2018, we didn't really get to see a whole lot from him. Will he break out in 2019? Definitely is possible. I do think he's got potential still, but those injuries, he needs to stay healthy. If he can stay healthy, dangerous quarterback out of Michigan State. Now we're coming into the quarterbacks where are really standouts. Number 5 is Peyton Ramsey, and this may surprise you guys out of Indiana. Of course, since Indiana isn't really known for having high-profile players, in 2018 he played 12 games, 2,800 passing yards. Look at that. Look at these stats from this guy. This guy definitely can play. 354 rushing yards. He's a dual threat quarterback as well. 19 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. So yeah, of course, great yardage, great ratios in there. He's more of a dual threat. Once again, another thing that's really going to be helpful for him. He does need to fix his interceptions, though. 13 interceptions. That is why he's more down on this list. If he can fix those interceptions, he could be a top 3 quarterback in the Big Ten this season. Not even joking about that. He's got a lot of experience. So definitely, this quarterback is one to watch out for next season. If you're facing Indiana, you got to be aware of him, Ramsey, because he definitely has a lot of potential to do some great things. Number 4. Now, this is Nate Stanley out of Iowa. I considered putting him a little higher, but I just didn't because of his interceptions, of course. And of course, also since he's not much of a rushing quarterback, only 4 rushing yards last season, but he did have 2,800 passing yards. That is very good. Very good yardage there. He He's a great passer, very accurate, and you'll see him make some dangerous plays. He made some dangerous plays last season. I believe he started all 13 games. Tons of potential out of Nate Stanley in 2019. Watch out for this guy. Once again, if you're playing Iowa, kind of similar to Indiana. If you're playing Iowa, this is a very dangerous quarterback, and you really going to want to be able to take care of him. Number 3, Justin Fields out of Ohio State. This is a really risky bet putting him at number 3, especially since really he doesn't have a whole lot of experience. But he has a ton of positive feedback. 328 passing yards, very dual threat quarterback. It seemed like 266 rushing yards. Along with that, he had 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. He has tons of potential. Very young still. He is kind of a little experienced, but I definitely think Justin Fields. He's a transfer from Georgia. He didn't play a whole lot down at Georgia. He played all 12 games last season. At some point, he played a snap in basically all 12 games. But he just did not start. That is the key factor there. But definitely, I do think he'll start for Ohio State next season. They still have tons of quarterbacks. It's uncertain whether he'll start, but I do think that he will. Next up, number 2, Adrian Martinez out of Nebraska. Definitely a team to watch out for next year. Played 11 games last season. This is a quarterback which I consider putting him a little lower, but I just put him up here because of his rushing potential. 2,600 passing yards, 629 rushing yards, 17 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Great touchdown to interception ratio, keeping it below 10 interceptions, along with 17 touchdowns. Very good right there. Major potential. He's only going to be a sophomore next year. This is a Heisman contender once he gets to his senior season. Very dual threat quarterback. This is a guy that is very dangerous. If you're playing Nebraska, watch out for him. I think definitely this is a guy, he's going to be scary good when he's a senior. I mean, we saw him last season as a freshman. I believe he was a little bit injured at the start of the season, dealt with injuries in and out of the season. It really didn't keep him out of any games except for, I believe, one at the beginning of the season, which is the reason why he didn't get all 12 games with a snap in him. But definitely Martinez is a quarterback to watch out for next year and from years past as well. Number 1, Shea Patterson out of Michigan. 13 games. He played all 13 games last season. 2,600 yards, 273 rushing yards, 22 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. It is just crystal clear that he should be the number 1 quarterback on this list just because of his stats. I mean, he's not much of a rusher. But he's somewhat dual threat, not much of a rusher, but he is a very good passer. Very accurate, very dangerous as well, as his touchdown to interception ratio is the best on this list. He will be senior in 2019, so he's really, it's said that this is his last year to be able to do anything, but I'm sure that he'll be a pretty good quarterback once he gets to the NFL. I would expect him to be a pretty high draft pick next season, just by watching him last season. Very good quarterback. But anyway, that wraps up this list. That is the quarterbacks in the Big Ten ranked. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below. Do you guys agree or disagree with this list? I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts. Of course, still several months until the season starts, so we got tons of time. Tons of things can change in the meantime. So, yeah, once again, thank you guys all for watching, and I will see you later.